Hello, welcome to He Top of Something Is Off with me, just Joey T. All right, the day is kind of sort of semi here. I spent a lot of time, probably in way too many podcast episodes over way too many weeks and months, alluding to this quote unquote other business that I've been working on. But I keep mentioning it because I've spent so much time working on it that it inevitably, little itsy bits of it filtered into the podcast, even though I never mentioned what kind of business it was, except it was something tangible I could sell. And yeah, but we're at the point where I'm ready to let all you lovely podcast listeners, all three of you, to know what it is. And it is my own skincare brand. I want to do one of those canned background noises. You know, when you watch sitcoms, they have like the fake clapping or like the laughter in the back. Actually, on this podcast thingamajig, I have programmed in a bunch of noises that I've never used. So I'm gonna try one of these. But there's a bunch of programmable buttons. And I remember when I first got it, I was like, oh, I should program some sounds and stuff into it. But I have no idea what these sounds are, but that was like a year and a half ago. I'm just going to go through the buttons. The buttons are not labeled, okay? They're different colors, but I have no idea what they do. Well, the only button that I know what it does is the intro music. That's the first button. I'm going to try some of these noises. Oh, that's like the shade sound from RuPaul's Drag Race. So that's the second button is the shade noise from RuPaul's Drag Race. Let's see what the third button is. Okay, it's the butter bump. Let's see what this fourth button does. Oh, crickets. Okay, the fourth button is crickets. Okay, it's a laugh track. And then I have buttons 6 and 7 are blank, so I don't think they do anything. And then the 8th button is the last one. It looks like it has something. Let's see what it is. Cha cha cha. Oh. Okay, it makes sense. I programmed these noises. I'm going to play the last one for you again. Either you know exactly what it is or you have no idea what it is. Okay, I'm going to play it again. Cha, cha, cha. So if you know what it is, you know what it is. If you don't know what it is, I'll explain. So this is a iconic lyric from the K-pop girl group Twice. And it's off of their second single, which she called Cheer Up. And in it, Sana, one of the group members, part of her lyrics is shy, 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 S-H-Y. And it's kind of sort of turned into a meme out of that song, like an iconic saying from that song. And part of the choreography, when she sings that part of her song, of the lyric, she goes, well, again, you have to be watching me on YouTube or on Spotify for me to see this, but she goes, shy, shy, shy. So she does like the knuckles and like she twists her knuckles under like under her eyes in front of her cheeks. Yeah, but that's kind of sort of like an iconic lyric and kind of like an iconic moment. And when they do like the media and stuff for that song, and she went out to like various like shows and stuff like that, they would make her do like the shy, shy, shy. With the little hand gesture movements. It's called what's it called in K-pop again? Like a key dance or key choreo or something like that. Anyways, all right, yeah. So I'm launching a skincare line. We went on a way off on a tangent. I was hoping that on my soundboard there'd be a congratulatory noise that I could push after saying I'm launching a skincare company, and then but I don't think any of these noises are gonna really do that. So just clap. You, the three of you at home, just clap that I'm launching a skincare company, okay? Wow, all right. We took a tangent through the soundboard, but here we are. Okay, so today's podcast, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the skincare company that I am launching. So the company is called Serve Labs, SERVE Labs. And we are on Instagram. Some of you that follow me on Instagram, you might have seen me post a story and like a few teasers. This would have been like last week And there was a link actually to the Instagram account for Serve Labs. It's just at Serve Labs. Please follow me on the Instagram if you would like. Right now, we are at a pre-launch status where I've reached out to certain people I know, like friends I know in real life, and I'm having them kind of flip through the website. I'm encouraging if they are looking for some new skincare products and they're willing and able, and they're generous enough to want to support me by placing some orders for the products. We're kind of sort of doing a pre-launch beta test with people that I know so that I get more experience and feedback on how the website works, things I need to change on the website, what the ordering experience is like, what was the delivery experience like, are things getting damaged, things like that before I kind of advertise and actually push out the brand more. But for you lovely listeners, because I have been alluding to this other business for so long, I wanted to give you guys kind of like the first scoop, if you will, like the first dip into the hummus. Is that even a saying? The first dip into the hummus of the skincare brand, tell you guys just a little bit about it. And then, yeah, that will be the podcast for today. So if you like, follow me, follow the company on Instagram at Serve Labs. And our website is actually up as well. It's servelabs.co. Servelabs.com is taken by like, I don't know, some random whatever. And I wasn't going to spend the money for it. And when I was coming up with the name of the company, and it's reflected a little bit in the marketing and the branding as well. Serve kind of was derived from kind of like the drag queen things of like serving face or like serving something, like serving blank as in, like something's to serve. So that's kind of sort of where the name was derived from. I'm not great at naming things. I'm somewhat proud of myself for coming up with Kian, which is like the name of my alt on OnlyFans. I really like that name. Liam is another name that I really like as well. If I ever have kids, that's a giant if. I don't really desire to have kids, I don't think, but it's not out of the question. Or if I had like a pet and I wanted to give it a kind of like human-esque name, instead of calling it like Fido or something like that. I like names where when you hear it, it's clearly a name. It's not like some, I don't know, it's not like Northeast, Southwest, if you know what I mean. Some stupid shit like that. I would want to name a pet or a child, give them something that's pretty clearly, obviously an actual name, but not a common one. Joey's pretty common, but I actually like my name. I don't have a problem with it. I don't encounter that many Joeys. That's kind of sort of what I was going for when I went with Kian. The name for this podcast came from my friend Jeremy, and it wasn't something that he like suggested explicitly as a name for this podcast, but I wanted something a little wacky, a little, a lot of podcast names are kind of pretty witty, funny, and they're pretty clever. And I am not witty or funny or clever. I am not a person of any of that sort of stuff. So I was scrolling through this like group chat that we've had, for like, I think this group chat is 10 years old. Literally, this group chat is 10 years old, and we're still pretty active in it. Not like we chat every single day, but like there's stuff in there every single week. And for whatever reason, one of us had put into the group chat a photo of like some random guy that one of us had, like, I don't know, snapped at the gym or on the train or somewhere. And then Jeremy replied to that photo saying, "He's hot, but something's off." I'm like, oh, that something caught my eye about that thing. And I was just scrolling through like the chat history and it's like, that might work. So that's how that name came about. And the more I thought about the name, like he's hot, but something's off. So that the he's hot is not mentioning myself, by the way. But I think it's the kind of hidden meaning beyond just like the actual origin, which is from like the group chat that we have. He's hot, but something's off. It's a little like judging a book by its cover, or like what kind of appears to be the case on the surface isn't always the case when you look and dig a little bit deeper. So I feel like that's kind of sort of the meaning of it, and that's kind of sort of what I thought about before I actually like committed to that name. Because it came from kind of sort of like a funny, shady moment in a group chat of like us checking out some guy and then said, "Oh, he's hot, but something's off." But the kind of another meaning of it, like the deeper meaning, if you will, that I had for it was things are not always as they seem. Like something might look good on the surface, but when you dig a little deeper, it could be something else entirely, or there are kind of much more complexity. There's like a whole other side kind of when you look in. So that's kind of like the hidden meaning. But I've had to name a lot of stuff like last year. So this company, technically, I started in the spring of 2023. By the way, I know I'm going on so many tangents. I'm going to try a lot harder to stay on point here. Yeah, so the company, I started technically in the spring of last year. And some of you know kind of my career office backstory, but just really quickly, in December of 2022, I decided to quit my pretty cushy, to be honest, 9 to 5 office job that I was working remotely from home, the 9 to 5. And not because I wanted to do content creation full time, not because I wanted to start any sort of company or have anything to do with skincare as a career at that time. It was not to do any of that. At that point, I had no idea I would go and try to start a skincare company at all. But I was burnt out, and I've kind of gone through the details of that. I think in one of the very early episodes of this podcast, like the first or second or third episode, I dug into why I felt like it was right for me to quit the day job back in December 2022. So if we were to go back to like the deep history of the podcast archives for that episode for the details, it was a few months after that, 3, 4, 5 months after that, shortly after I quit, the beginning of 2023, I decided to do a little bit of travel. And then after a few months of traveling, I'm like, well, now what? I wasn't quite fully full-time back on the job hunt yet for like another IT job. I thought when I quit, I would just go back into IT. I was just literally going to take a break. But 2 other things popped up in my head, which was, well, I mean, since I have all this extra free time, I might as well work more on the OnlyFans, which I have and still do. And the other thing was, well, are there any other careers or any other type of work that I would ever want to look into? This would be the perfect time. Not necessarily that I'm committing to changing a career, but just exploring other things. Because when I was working my 9 to 5, as a lot of people do, you don't think about changing careers usually, but you're just going to work. You're just going through the motions of like going to work Monday to Fridays, 9 to 5, getting your paycheck, having the weekends, and then rinse and repeat. Yeah, so this is kind of sort of where the company came out of. And then it was later in the spring that I decided to like, let's do it. But even throughout most of 2023, I wasn't like pedal to the floor, like 100% full throttle working on this. I was more full throttle working on the content creation, to be honest, because that was already kind of going. I was doing it on the side of my day job back in 2022 already. So it was just kind of sort of ramping it up. And I found that business like very fascinating. And it was kind of gaining, or it was a rolling start already, if you will. Whereas this was like, at that point, I think back in summer of 23, I didn't think it was like, oh, this is the thing I'm going to do. Like, this is like the one big career that I'm going to have. But I did work on it a little bit. That's when I came up with the name and kind of the very early kind of research for the company to even determine if it's viable. Looking at things like, well, what would set my company apart? What are the unique selling points of this potential brand that I would want to build? It was a lot of research and development, basically, at that point. And later on in 2023, that's when I actually kind of committed more And I actually started looking at different laboratories and different manufacturers and things like that. Started trialing and testing product. And we placed the order for the first initial batch of the product. I think it was right around New Year's. It was earlier this year that we actually started production on all the skincare products. And yeah, to skip a few details, fast forward a little bit, I spent a lot of time working on the brand, the skincare brand, in September. Because I had set myself this goal of, okay, we need to hit the pre-launch before October 1st. And we got that deadline because the product that I ordered way back earlier on in the year, just after New Year's, I think, was when we finalized the order late in the winter. And then it was during the spring and summertime where we got things produced. And then in the summer, in like August, it's basically everything was produced and everything, all the other details for the products were set to the point where we're going to actually ship it to the warehouse, which I'm using Amazon for. Once the products were on their way to Amazon, and that means once Amazon processed the orders, then they're actually available for sale. So I was like, well, this is it. This is the time. So here we are. Yeah, feel free to go to the website, surflabs.co, have a flip through it. One thing I will say, I'm considering this a pre-launch where you can technically order the products. If any member of the public wanted to go onto the website and actually buy things, it does work. I placed a test order myself the same way as any other normal person would, and I got the products. Some friends have placed a couple orders already, but during this pre-launch, again, I'm not advertising this widely, and to the three of you that's listening, I don't recommend you go buy any of the products yet, because I just, again, want to put some test orders through the system with friends and family and people that I know so that they can give me good feedback on things that are working well and maybe discover that some things aren't working well. I've already picked up a couple of minor issues already with the ordering and the delivery. And I want to just have some of those test runs go through, fix any issues that come up from those test runs before I kind of advertise it more widely. And that's probably November, December, hopefully. If there are problems that pop up, I'm going to need to see how long they take to fix. But yeah, that's where we are right now. And that's why the Instagram, I don't have the website linked yet, but the website is kind of sort of still also in like a pre-launch, like a teaser state. Feel free to follow me on Instagram. I'm hoping to build a following there, obviously, and have a good social media presence for the brand there. And yeah, feel free to go to the website. Unless you're really desperate to buy the products, again, I don't recommend you buy any of the products, but flip through, look through it. Feel free to comment in the comments on the YouTube channel if you have any feedback on it. I will say a bit of a disclaimer is I already have a list of changes I want to make for the website. I wouldn't say the website is like quite ready for prime time yet. All the basics work, like the ordering is fine. Most of the information is there. Some of the things I want to fix on the website are kind of minor things, as in I need more variety of photos. I need to have some photos and videos that actually show how the product dispenses and like the texture and the viscosity of the products. Like, is it a gel? Is it a cream? Is it a lotion? It's like a spray. People want to know these things. And I also want to add a bit more education and guidance into the website. There will be a blog that launches with the website. It just wasn't part of the pre-launch. For example, I want to show people how to build a skincare routine, how the products can be used together, how they should be used together if you buy multiple of the products. So some of that stuff is coming for the actual launch. Again, hopefully November or December. But yeah, I just want to be able to tell you guys something about this thing that I've been working on. I'm pretty proud of where I've gotten. Sometimes it's hard for me to just, when you're in the thick of things, it's like I'm driving two cars right now, which is like the content creation and this thing. And it just doesn't feel like I have time to stop and look at how far I've driven and, what I've accomplished in a sense. But as of right now, as you're listening to this, I'm in Taipei doing a collab trip. And during this trip, it'll be like a little bit of a break from the skincare work, working on a skincare brand, just for like the week and a half or so, while I have the pre-launch and I get feedback from the people I know that are kind of testing out, looking at the website, and some of them are placing orders. Yeah, and then, but once I get back in November, yeah, I'm going to switch gears a little bit more towards a little bit off the content creation. I have a lot of content created from the Taipei trip. And then I switch gears over back into skincare, lying a little bit more, both in November and December. Hopefully we don't find too many issues during the test runs that I hope to finish up in the next few weeks. And then I'll work on running ads. I don't know how to run ads on like Instagram or TikTok or Google or whatever. I'm going to have to learn that. Start creating more content for the social media presence. That's going to be a big part of the marketing strategy. I need to take more photos and then create some videos of all the different products. We need like a wide variety of different media copies, if you will, for the brand. All the photos that you see on the website are all taken just from my house. I got this backdrop thingamajig from Amazon for like $20. This camera that I use for vlogging, it's like a big DSLR camera. It's the camera that I've had forever. Anytime I sit in front of the camera and talk about something, which is the way I film the podcast and some of my YouTube videos where I'm just like in my living room sitting in front of the camera talking, it's usually filming this camera. It's actually a very good camera. And yeah, that's the camera I use to take all these photos. But I just need more variety of them. But like, I'm a one-person shop. Basically, everything you see for this brand has been created by me in some way, shape, or form. Like, I'm using Shopify for the website. So, they have like a template, but like, everything besides the template, everything, like the names for everything, I don't even know how I came up with the names for all these products. Somehow I wanted the brand to have a bit of like a shady, witty, funny feel. And if you actually look at the about page and or it's a little bit of is listed on the landing page as well. Serving fun and effective skincare for everyone is our tagline. And then I've got 3 values under it, which I'm kind of sort of still fine tuning a little bit. I was trying to get clever with the alliteration and everything, but I don't know if it's quite worked. I wanted the brand to be fun. A lot of the skincare out there, a lot of brands out there, some of them are just not that interesting, not that fun, like fun. You know what I mean? So fun is fundamental. It's kind of like the first brand value. The second one is, fab formulations backed by science. Fun by itself is great or not, but when you buy skincare, this stuff has to work. Okay, there's actual science involved. The formulation has to be good. We need to use good ingredients. That has to be an integral part of the brand. And then finally, I really wanted to create a brand that was gender positive. So the last value is gorgeous for all genders. Now, a lot of brands are gender neutral or sometimes just gender blind. It is sometimes how I would describe some of these brands. Or there are brands, a little more the legacy ones like Olay or L'Oreal or Clinique, for example, where, in their advertising and marketing and their branding, you mostly see feminine women in their marketing and their branding. And then they might have like a subline, like Clinique for men is a popular line for men, but it features, just your typically like masculine presenting males. I wanted my brand to not be gender blind, not just turn our back on it, and market, more inclusively towards the full gender spectrum, but especially to, the parts of the gender spectrum that has traditionally not been part of the marketing or the branding or the conversation on things like skincare. It's not just, girly girls that should benefit from skincare and, should feel like they are the ones that should be interested in skincare. Everybody has skin, and I feel like everyone should take care of their skin. So that's kind of sort of where I felt like I wanted to focus the brand, and it's kind of part of our USP or unique selling points. Is I wanted it to be fun, and the fun kind of the way I'm trying to make the brand fun is drawing inspiration from queer culture, queer pop culture as well. So there's some funny witty sayings in the marketing that it's a little bit cheek and tongue. I've used a lot of David's help for that. So thank God for David. He's so good at this kind of stuff. It's kind of sort of like the start. It's like this is the genesis, I guess, of everything. So yeah, today's podcast is just to tell you a little bit about this other business that I've been alluding to for so long, which is my own skincare brand. Right now, I'm literally a company of one person with no outside help really in the company. Obviously, I have a manufacturer and a lab for the actual products, and they make the products and they manufacture it, but I don't have my own laboratory and I don't have the manufacturing equipment, obviously, so I had to have a company, a facility do that. I've got some lawyers that I consulted for various things, a couple of different law firms that I've worked with. Obviously, when you start a business, there's a lot of legal stuff that needs to be taken care of, so I have that stuff. For right now, like I built the website, we're on Instagram. Yeah, I've done a lot of this stuff just myself otherwise. It's weird because it is exciting. I know it's exciting, but it's like, it doesn't feel exciting. Again, it's that metaphor of I'm driving the car, and when you're driving the car, you're kind of sort of busy driving that you don't always notice, how far you've come kind of a thing. So in a way, this trip to Taipei, which as you're listening, I'm actively in Taipei. I'm partway through the trip already. I hope that part of the trip will help me step back a little bit. Sometimes traveling to a different place and just being in a different environment for a little while helps with that. And I always have this feeling for like the last 2 years, like, we need to make more money. We don't bring enough money in to pay the bills right now. Like, we just need to work harder, work more. And like, that's like the overriding state of mind that I've had. Like, every day I've woken up for the last 2 years has been, okay, we don't have that job anymore. We don't have that paycheck coming in. We're not making enough money to pay all the bills without taking money out of the savings or selling something or doing something like that. So under the cloud of that, is a little hard to step back and be like, bitch, you built a whole fucking company from the ground up by yourself, and it fucking works. Like, people can actually buy your shit now. I'm not thinking too much about whether this company will be successful or will not be successful. I don't have a crystal ball. No one does. But it's kind of like, well, if you don't try, you never know. And lots of other people sell lots of shit on Shopify and on Amazon and on websites. So can you. You're a smart person. So that's where we are today. So that's it for this episode of the podcast, which I guess is kind of like a special episode of the podcast. As usual, lots of detours and tangents. But yeah, this is what I've been working on. Serve Labs, serving fun and effective skincare for everyone. We're in a pre-launch. Again, I don't recommend you buy any of the products, but if you do choose to buy the products, obviously thank you. But I don't recommend it right now just because I just want to make sure, with several test runs from people that I know, orders that they've placed, I just want to make sure everything is like working before I do my sales push and marketing push and actually tell people, yes, please go buy my stuff. But yeah, if you have any questions or comments about it, yeah, feel free to comment in the comment section in YouTube. I don't know how much advice I'm looking for, because it feels like whenever you start doing something, everyone has advice. Like when you have a child, when you have a pet, everyone has advice. I'm already getting a little bit of that from like a couple of my friends, where I'm thinking in my head, I didn't really ask for your advice, and this is not applicable right now. But I had to like just hold my tongue. But yeah, comment down below. Go for it. And until next time, bye y'all.